We only have a few hours left to save the life of Marcellus Khalifa Williams. Governor Parker, you can save a life today. You can save an innocent life today. You can change your legacy today. You can stand up for human rights today. You can be the leader Missouri needs today. Stand up for human rights and commute the execution of Marcellus Williams. Do it now, Governor Parker. Do it now.
Marcellus Khalifa Williams is an inmate in the state of Missouri, whose case has drawn significant public attention due to the controversies surrounding his conviction and pending execution. Williams was sentenced to death for the 1998 murder of Felicia Gale, a former reporter for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Gale was found stabbed to death in her home, and the prosecution argued that Williams committed the crime during a burglary. However, Williams and his legal team have maintained his innocence throughout, and his case has raised significant questions about the fairness of his trial, the evidence presented, and the role of DNA testing in the pursuit of justice.
I hope a miracle happens, you know what I'm saying? I hope it's, all I wish is to free my father from up under this enslavement and spare his life. I would try to make them see that this is a murder on their behalf, and this is wrong, you know? And I believe my father is truly innocent, and they need to take a closer look. I already put it inside my body that I would be a witness to it, to the execution. I'm standing firm and show my dad he's not alone if this what it comes to, and I'm ready for it. My mindset, my spirit, strong. Like, I'm doing this for my dad, it's bigger than me. So for me to be there in that time, if it comes to that, it's like an honor. I'm gonna see him off. So if this is the way that he going out, we already made peace.
Felicia Gale was brutally attacked and stabbed 43 times in her home in University City, Missouri, on August 11, 1998. According to the prosecution, Marcellus Williams broke into her house intending to rob it and killed her when she confronted him. The case remained unsolved for almost a year, until police arrested Williams in connection with the crime after an informant came forward with a tip. Two individuals, Williams' ex-girlfriend and a fellow inmate, testified that Williams had confessed to the crime. Based on their testimony, Williams was convicted of first-degree murder in 2001. Williams' conviction relied primarily on circumstantial evidence. There was no direct physical evidence linking him to the murder scene. Instead, the prosecution built its case on the testimony of the two informants. His ex-girlfriend claimed that Williams had admitted to her that he killed Gale, and the jailhouse informant stated that Williams confessed to him while they were both incarcerated. Additionally, Williams was found in possession of items believed to have been stolen from Gale's home. However, significant concerns have arisen regarding the reliability of this testimony. Jailhouse informants are often incentivized to cooperate with law enforcement in exchange for leniency in their own cases, leading to questions about their credibility. Similarly, Williams's ex-girlfriend, who had a tumultuous relationship with him, may have had motives for providing false testimony. Despite these issues, the jury convicted Williams, and he was sentenced to death. Williams' legal team has consistently argued that he is innocent, and that crucial DNA evidence could exonerate him. In particular, they have pointed to DNA found on the murder weapon, a knife recovered from Gale's home, that does not match Williams. In 2015, a new round of DNA testing revealed that the male DNA on the knife was not Williams, but belonged to another unidentified individual. This finding, according to his defense team, casts serious doubt on the integrity of his conviction and supports their argument that Williams was wrongfully convicted. In response to this new evidence, Williams's lawyers have requested a new trial or at least a halt to his execution. They argue that the DNA evidence, combined with the lack of physical evidence linking Williams to the crime scene and the questionable reliability of the witnesses, creates a strong case for reasonable doubt. Despite these arguments, Missouri courts have thus far declined to grant Williams a new trial. Williams was originally scheduled to be executed on August 22, 2017. As the execution date approached, public outcry over the case grew. Many advocacy groups, including the Innocence Project and the NAACP, rallied around Williams's cause, arguing that the new DNA evidence warranted at least a temporary stay of execution. Concerns were raised not only about the potential innocence of Williams, but also about the broader implications for the death penalty system if an execution were to proceed, despite unresolved questions about guilt. In response to these concerns, Missouri Governor Eric Greitens granted a stay of execution just hours before Williams was set to be put to death.
All eyes are on you. All eyes are on you.
All eyes are on you, Marcellus.
Right now. The victim's family doesn't want to.
In a statement, Greitens announced that he would appoint a 5-member board of inquiry to review the case and make recommendations on whether Williams' execution should proceed. The governor cited the new DNA evidence as a key factor in his decision to halt the execution, stating that it was important to ensure that the state did not execute an innocent man. Following the governor's stay of execution, the case was placed in legal limbo as the board of inquiry conducted its review. The board, made up of retired judges, was tasked with reviewing all of the evidence in the case, including the DNA testing, to determine whether there was a reasonable doubt about Williams's guilt.
Have you seen anything like this before?
No, certainly this is an extraordinary case.
We spoke to Williams's attorney, Tricia Rojo Bushnell, before the governor declined to halt the execution.
And I think what many of us struggle with when we see a situation like this is what's the point? How can this be a criminal justice system if this is the kind of outcome it delivers?
The review process was expected to take several months, but years later, as of 2024, the case remains unresolved. Throughout this period, Williams has remained on death row, and his legal team has continued to advocate for a new trial or a commutation of his sentence. They have argued that the existence of DNA from another individual on the murder weapon should be enough to exonerate Williams, or at least warrant a closer examination of the case. Additionally, they have pointed out that other pieces of physical evidence, such as hair and fingerprints found at the crime scene, also do not match Williams. The case of Marcellus Williams has broader implications for the death penalty in the United States, particularly with regard to the use of DNA evidence in capital cases. DNA testing has played a crucial role in exonerating numerous wrongfully convicted individuals, some of whom were on death row. Williams' case highlights the ongoing challenges of ensuring that DNA evidence is fully considered before carrying out irreversible punishments like the death penalty. Advocates for Williams argue that his case is an example of the risks of wrongful convictions in capital cases, where the stakes are life and death. They contend that the state's refusal to grant Williams a new trial despite the presence of exculpatory DNA evidence reflects broader systemic issues in the criminal justice system, including a reliance on unreliable testimony from incentivized witnesses and a reluctance to revisit convictions even when new evidence emerges. On the other hand, proponents of the death penalty argue that Williams's conviction was upheld by multiple courts, and they believe the jury's decision should be respected. However, with growing public awareness of wrongful convictions and the potential for DNA testing to reveal new information, cases like Williams's are increasingly being scrutinized. Marcellus Khalifa Williams' case is a stark reminder of the complexities and moral dilemmas involved in capital punishment. With unresolved questions about his guilt and the presence of DNA evidence that could exonerate him, his case has become a focal point for debates over the death penalty, wrongful convictions, and the role of science in the criminal justice system. As his legal battle continues, The question remains whether the state of Missouri will proceed with his execution or grant him a new trial to examine the evidence more thoroughly.